Hello and welcome to Green and Gold Radio. I'm your host, William Plavin Masters.
Hello, William. I'm Cody. That's the worst thing I've ever said.
Bro, no, I just do the weird podcasting voice for the intro.
Why do you have to then stare at me and be like, "You talk"?
Because that's the part.
Yeah, but what
have you ever watched the podcast? It's where you say your name.
Yeah, I said my name, but it felt very awkward.
All right, great start, Cody. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. Football state championship this last weekend.
Back to back.
Got to call some wrestling as well this weekend. It was a long weekend for me, but a fun weekend as well.
Heck yeah.
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
I was just going to say, for the football state championship, we able to come out with a win there was so huge. And, I mean, that was certainly a good Springfield team, but, we just had so much confidence going into that game. And throughout the season that, by the time we had reached that game, the game plan and everything was just so airtight that we knew we could come away with a victory in that one.
Yeah. Watching the game, the only real moment that victory was in doubt was that opening play. Goodness. I was sitting up in the rafters. The student section was right below. Luke Godlewski got a great video. And I was up there and I was watching that play, and it was just when they decided to go for it on the first run what was the why? Why that call?
What happened was, so we were going to punt. The punt team was out on the field.
Right, because that makes sense in that scenario.
Yes. Ben Lavelle, his knee pads were not over his knees, and so he was asked to leave the field.
No!
And so we were going to bring in our backup punter, Daniel Tome. They sent him out on the field, and then Lombardo was like, all right, let's go for it. So then they send the offense back out onto the field to go for it. So we were going to punt in that situation, but we ended up not doing it. And honestly, prior to us punting, people like the sideline kind of wanted to go for it, and the offense wanted to go for it.
Yeah, man.
But then they were like, okay, we're sending punt team out. Because it's 4th and 2. It's early in the game.
Yeah.
Right? And so coach was like, we're just going to punt in this situation, get our defense in a good situation to settle into this game. But now you don't get it on the 4th down. They've got the ball about the 40-yard line, something like that. And then that opening drive for them was concerning for how the defense did not look the best, to say the least, during that opening drive. They were working the QB draw very well. The QB was running all over us early on, and I think that kind of had to do with the preparation for the pass throughout the week, which is what Coach Pappas really focused in on, was making sure that they weren't able to throw the ball easily, and so that opened lanes for the quarterback to run, and so that's what ended up happening on the opening drive. But defense, as they always do, made adjustments and were able to hold them to 7 points the rest of the game.
And what a phenomenal showing from the defense. That was certainly one of the craziest defensive games I've ever watched. Kilbane got 2.5 sacks. Gideon got 3 sacks, something like that.
Something like that. 8 sacks in total, 8
or
9 sacks I think in total,
which
is crazy.
That's crazy. In a championship game, 9 sacks is insane.
Everyone was in the backfield. Troy Rigovich, defensive tackle. Haas was in the backfield. Rob King was in the backfield. Obviously Gideon and Kilbane. It was just a all-around dominant defensive performance, especially from the defensive line. And I had spoken with a couple players on the team beforehand, and they really expected that they were going to able to get that pass rush and be able to disrupt the quarterback.
Yeah. It's just wild, and I'm seeing the door open, and it's Lucas a random. It's yeah. We're doing a podcast. How you doing, Lucas? Yeah.
What's the
It's Green and Gold Radio, the school podcast. And
Greatest podcast.
Greatest podcast ever. It's about the football championship. This is Cody.
Yeah, I'm Cody. If you don't know.
Cody, he's the expert on football, apparently.
He is.
Yeah, why am I the expert for this show?
You're the de facto football expert,
it makes
Cody.
No sense.
Hey, you're on the field every game.
That's true. That's true. You might not be
Making
playing.
zero contribution.
No, you give them water, okay?
Okay.
You make a contribution.
All right. Sure.
Thank you,
Bye,
Lucas, for giving
Lucas.
us an opportunity to roast Cody.
I don't understand why you consider me like the football expert for
I
this
don't
show.
consider you the football expert.
Well, last year you wanted me to come on. You're like, okay, let's talk football. This year you're like, okay, I want to talk about the football state championship, and I got the invite. And I
well,
was
yeah,
like,
because
why
like, who
me?
else am I gonna pull on the podcast
Okay, that's fair.
to talk about football? The final score was what, 14-28?
Yes.
I mean, like, last year we beat them 13-23, and like the whole game, it was like up in the air. You know, you didn't know who was gonna come out with a dub. Was there like a certain point in the game where you're like, their team is just not clicking, or there's some communication issues? We are coming away with this dub. Was there any moment during the game where you felt that?
So I actually, like, at halftime, I think going into halftime, almost everyone kind of like felt like this is our game to go out and win at this point. But it's also like almost even more nerve-wracking that you're up at halftime and like me, as I'm almost a spectator on the sidelines, like just wondering about the psyche of that team, and does that impact at all, like how the players are feeling, like how confident are they, like so confident as to where they don't even go out and put everything they have in the second half of football because they're just so confident that their minds are already on post game celebrating with their team and winning the state championship, as to where they can't focus and actually go out and win that second half. But luckily, as you saw, that didn't happen, and we were able to keep focus and easily dominate that second half of football as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, it was a tremendous game. Like, it was huge. It was a tremendous game.
Probably one of the best games of football I've ever seen.
Probably one of the best games of football. But no, it really was. Considering that I don't often go to football games, it was one of the better games I've ever watched.
And what were you wearing at the game? Can I ask that? The mask and
Luke got a video. Hold on.
interesting outfit.
It was an interesting outfit. It's my cold weather outfit.
Don't be mad what you see, I you want it. If you feel like it, then you should have put a ring on it. Oh, oh, oh.
Dude, it's like the mask fit with the fedora.
What?
You always like to rock the
Love Beyonce.
I don't know how to because it's not a coronavirus mask. It's not like a
Nah, it's a
COVID-19
scarf.
mask. It's a scarf.
It's a
Is
scarf.
that what you would call it? Okay.
No, it's actually like
that-
it's not
it's
what I would
just
call
a
it. It's
scarf?
literally just a
It's
scarf.
Just a scarf.
I just wear it like this and then wrap it around like
That looks like what I wear when I go snowboarding.
so it kind of looks like a bandito mask. So I look like a
You're gonna go
badass
rob a
instead
store?
of. So I look like a badass instead of just looking like a dude wearing a scarf. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
And
you gotta have the big
So it
hat.
was, you're just sitting up above the student section, just watching down on.
Yeah,
them.
I'm not trying to go into that chaos, bro. I'm not a student section goer.
That's
I'm
actually
a
true.
I'm
That's
the-
very chaotic.
I stay like if I go to a basketball game, I get permission. I sit up on the like rafters above everyone. I don't sit in the fray. It's too much, too chaotic, man.
I want to just profess my love for sports in general, and that it's certainly artificial, but it's the one like place in life I feel like where you get a definitive yes or no answer. Like one team lost and one team won.
The
There's
only place in life where you get a
one of the
definitive answer.
only places. Like if in like I'm just thinking as an example, like war. Like we were talking about the Vietnam War today. Like there's not, you can argue like a winner, loser, no winners, not really a loser. You can argue any like different of those points of view. But in a basketball game, the team that had the higher score at the end of the game won. That's
I mean,
what
you
I
could make
enjoy
the
about
same. You
sports.
could make the same argument for war.
You certainly can, but it's not as objective as sports remain. Like there's something that like touches like our deepest like Neanderthal that we want to see, like a winner
Also violence.
and a loser. Yes, exactly. In like a combat scenario. Like a combat type scenario,
See,
which can be done
this is why
with rules.
This is why I advocate for bringing back gladiators, man.
This is why I enjoy MMA, because I can let my inner Neanderthal come when watching people smack each other in the head with kicks and punches.
MMA is oh my god, you want to talk MMA? MMA is the greatest thing ever.
A wealth of knowledge in MMA.
Okay,
this might be
so
the thing I am most knowledgeable
we
about
did
in the entire world.
5 minutes on the championship. Let's sum it up real quick. St. Ed's went back to back.
Domination.
Kilbane and Gideon and the rest of the team, all those guys, Kyan Mason, Rob King,
Casey Bullock, Big
Marv,
boys up front.
gotta love Marv, Ben Roebuck,
Ricky Wolverton.
Oh, Ricky!
Big old
Pancake Platoon. Pancake Platoon is the most legendary thing of all time.
It is. They're so good too.
It's ridiculous how good they It's ridiculous how good they are.
And shout out Anderson Soltis, who was
Soltis.
Like second, third stringer, like his sophomore year. Like he didn't start on the JV team. Comes up big, and he played very well throughout the entirety of the season, and feel good for that.
Yeah, bro. Anderson did the cover art for the first long form season of Green and Gold Radio.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Also, shouts to Daniel Selm, kicker at the end of the year, was 100% from extra points and field goals. Shouts to him.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the IB department for producing a whole bunch of smart, kind of low key crazy kids. Yep. Shout out to the football department for doing the exact same thing. Emphasis on the crazy part. And back-to-back championships. Let's go St. Edward.
I also want to say that I love Coach Pappas.
Oh, Coach Pappas is a legend.
Animal.
Coach Pappas is a legend.
He's one of the most emotional people on the sideline ever. Yeah. Like one time, Wyatt didn't do what he was supposed to on a play. Like he somehow came inside or something. This was like state semis earlier in the state tournament, and he's like, Wyatt, and he was like, it looked like he was about to cry on the sidelines, dude. He just gets so into it because he like he spent all week just game planning, like hours and hours. I don't know that he sleeps during football season.
He's a legend, man.
So
I had him freshman biology. It was a crazy back-to-back win, and let's make a three-peat. Let's go for it. I mean, do you think the team has a chance at that next year?
I think there's certainly a very good shot. Like, as I had mentioned, they're just so talented, and not much of that talent is being lost. Certainly, as I mentioned, with the pass rush, that will be a big loss for the team. But other than that, you'll just see another year of experience for these players.
That's crazy.
And I think that will certainly help show how talented that these players are, and I think that they can certainly go three-peat.
All right. Well, juniors, you have to make it to the finals so I can come back down to Canton and watch that. This has been Green and Gold Radio. I'm your host, William Plavin Masters.
And I'm Cody Wagner.
And we will talk to you next week. Thank you.